And you're
Yeah, I was gonna
all
say.
set.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get going. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you lovely people are calling from. My name is Christopher Elliott. I am joined by the wonderful Isaac Barks. We are both outbound product managers in the ITSM BU. Today, we're going to be talking to you about ITSM onboarding, or how do I service now? Next slide, Isaac. Next slide, Isaac. Sorry. Beautiful. So that may be a little vague, so I will explain to you what we're going to cover today. You're going to get an understanding of what you own depending on your ITSM package, whether that's standard, pro, or enterprise. Gonna show you where to find best practices and paths specific to your business needs, help you to kickstart your ITSM journey, learn how to chart a course for the most efficient deployments. And what we'll spend the bulk of this presentation on is honestly walking you through a lot of the essential resources, the must-have tools that you need to really help you to be successful as you begin your ITSM journey with ServiceNow. Next slide, Isaac. So the agenda for today, we're first going to familiarize ourselves with ITSM. Isaac is going to walk you through the key components and entitlements. I'll talk a little bit about the 3 different implementation paths you can take. Then we'll hop into Now Create, and again, spend the majority of this call on other fun resources to help you along the way. And with that, I will pass it off to my friend Isaac to talk to you about ITSM.
All right. Thank you. So Isaac Bartz here. I'm a product manager in the ITSM space, as is Chris. And I'd like to kind of walk you through what we are going to be speaking about today. ServiceNow does a lot of things, but we're gonna focus on ITSM and really where ServiceNow originally came from. So when you're talking about ServiceNow, you have to understand there's some shared components. And these shared components are what we call the platform. Whether you're on ServiceNow for your HR or customer support solution, your SecOps, right? You're all going to share these components. So does ITSM. So when we say platform, we mean things like reporting and dashboards. Reporting is going to be the same, regardless of what solution you're using. It's going to look the same. It's going to have the same configuration options. Knowledge management, another shared component of the platform. Our mobile app, every solution on ServiceNow is designed to work with the mobile app and all of the rest of these items you see here. Importantly, we're also going to talk about the CMDB. So that's at the bottom left. The CMDB is really how do you organize and structure all of your environments, right? From a server to a service that's a representation of multiple servers, right? That things like that are going to be stored in the CMDB as well. And that is another shared component on the platform. So the ITSM space is what we're going to sort of peel back next. And starting with ITSM standard. If you're interested or if you are on ITSM standard, this is the solution you're going to see here, right? Starting with incident, problem management, change management, request management, and the service catalog, the walk-up experience, your digital portfolio, and that's all going to be viewable in what we call the service operations workspace. The service operations workspace is the most current UI that ServiceNow uses. Then we're going to talk about ITSM Professional. That is everything that comes with ITSM Standard, plus now we're talking about like virtual agent, our chatbot, predictive intelligence, it's a machine learning solution, performance analytics, so a more detailed and configurable solution to give you more reports that are important to you. And then some other items here like continual service improvement, dynamic translation. That can be really important for multilingual support centers. And then finally, ITSM Enterprise is going to be the last layer. Everything ITSM Standard, Professional, and now ITSM Enterprise adds additional solutions such as process mining. It is a way to really investigate your data. And then workforce optimization. That's solutions for very large call centers. Okay, so here's a different breakout. We wanted to show you both views. This view can be a little bit easier to consume. And what we'd like to show here is why you would want certain solution here. So ITSM standard, that's absolutely for growing businesses, and you need to create and get started on your solutions like change management, right? Start getting that process worked out. ITSM Pro, now we're going to go up that next level. Really a large bucket of ServiceNow customers are on ITSM Pro, and you can see the information that comes with it there. And then ITSM Enterprise as well. You notice the footnote here. Okay, so look at like footnote number 3. This is our generative AI solution. It's a hot topic. We love Gen AI. Everybody loves Gen AI. It can absolutely help you get started and get established. We're not going to talk about that today. Today, we want to understand what you need to do and what steps you need to take without the use of Gen AI. So just getting you under a better understanding of the basics and foundations. If you want to talk about Gen AI and see how that can fast forward, that's a separate webinar, or please talk to your account team. So key components, we're going to talk about some really important concepts. These are products that you are absolutely going to have to be familiar with. And some of them, as you can see here with the CMDB, they do reference platform components. Like the service catalog is also considered a platform component, but the CMDB, okay? So you want to be able to really accurately track and assess your environment, your data. When's the last time a server's been updated? Is there a maintenance windows, things like that? That information is critical for other components of ITSM, like change management, right? You can put in a change management request. Perhaps you want to update the operating system of a server, or there's some code you want to push out and a patch. We need to reference the CMDB, and that's the individual configuration items to track if that's allowed, right? It's core data that other solutions, other modules are going to constantly reference. And don't be overwhelmed by thinking you need to have a completed CMDB. It's actually the point of a CMDB. It's never going to be complete. It's constantly growing. It's constantly evolving. But we do need to make sure that we have accurate reference data in it. Incident management is a popular key component for ITSM. We want to make sure that we use things like advanced work assignment to send an incident to the right team that has the right skills, or maybe even just an individual that's logged in, okay? So incident management is something that a lot of our customers get started with, but I would say, and caveat that with, make sure you also start thinking about your CMDB very early on. Change management, talked about that a little bit. So this is where you're going to really know exactly where your configuration items are, your virtual, your physical devices, your services that represent perhaps a chain of multiple dependencies. And change management is going to help you know when and when not to push out a change. And it's also going to make sure you don't like knock down your payment system for 17 hours because somebody pushed out a code during an inappropriate maintenance window. So change management, very important. Knowledge management. It is considered now a platform item. Every piece of ServiceNow references knowledge management, but ITSM started that. So we want to make sure that you have information, repeatable information that is referenceable. If you understand how to fix something, well, absolutely put that in a knowledge article. And it can be created from the template of an incident itself to show this was what happened. These were the conditions that created the issue, and here's how we fixed it. Create that into a knowledge article. Of course, absolutely spruce it up to be a little bit more consumable. But now you want to continue to make sure other agents can reference that fix. You want to make sure your end users can do self-service. So repeat that success you have and make sure that your knowledge management is up to date. It really comes with some awesome things. So there's review periods, right? Maybe you want to set it that every 6 months, whoever created that article has to go back and review it. Do we need to retire it? Do we need to update it? Things like that are going to be covered in knowledge management. The UI itself, you're going to see SOW, Service Operations Workspace. Some of our customers are still using what we called UI 16. And that's a little bit more into the fields, into the weeds of really trying to navigate some of the tables directly. And that certainly is an advantage of UI 16, but Service Operations Workspace is the next UI we've had out there for a few years now. And really what we want is we want focused information and the relevant information. So you can configure these views, you personalize those views. It's a lot easier to consume. So you're going to see a lot of what is shown in ServiceNow actually comes from a workspace. And then request management. So things like your service catalogs. How do those requests come in? What channel do they go through? Critical part of ITSM and how information is routed and assigned. Chris, back to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Isaac. I know he just did an amazing job of walking you through the key products and the different packages that come with ITSM. But we do implore your first step after this should be taking the IT Service Management Fundamentals course. It's a 2-day course. It's free, but it'll give you an even deeper understanding and baseline of our ITSM products and capabilities. If you want to continue your learning after that, we also have an ITSM implementation course that's also 2 days and free. Plenty of other courses and certifications, but we'll cover that later. Next slide, Isaac. So now that you know what you bought, you're probably asking, what's next? Absolutely meet with your team, leadership, discuss ITSM strategy, direction, and goals. ITSM lets you supercharge your service experience, but you don't need to do everything at once, as Isaac kind of alluded to. You really want to just familiarize yourself with what ITSM can do and then decide what business outcomes you want to drive first. Below, we have a number of questions. Do you want to improve your incident response times? Do you want to reduce service desk workload? Are you trying to pinpoint areas for service improvement, measure and improve your vendor performance? You could do all of these things. You could do none of them, just one of them. But the idea is that you need to ask these kinds of questions to have a better understanding of where you want to go with the platform, where you want to go with your services. It'll help it'll help make sure you start in the right direction. On the right, if you're having trouble figuring out where to get started, we have success maps, now create, which Isaac will talk to a little bit later, ITSM objectives and outcomes. Next slide, Isaac. So now that you've spoken with your leadership team, you understand what your strategy is. It's time to implement. Probably asking, where do we start? There are 3 different paths to choose from. So the first 2 of those 3 paths is going to be working with a vendor. And I will say 90% of our ITSM customers choose one of these first 2 paths. The first vendor is going to be ServiceNow ourselves. We're called Expert Services. You can work with your account team or you can go to the Expert Services site. They will help you with your implementation. They'll work with you on your strategy and your goals. And this engagement will look however you want it to. It can be 1 month. It could be 6 months. They could work with you for an entire year. It's really just dependent on what your strategy is, what your goals are, what you are looking to implement. And that's why it's so important to make sure that you figure that out first and understand that internally before you come and try to implement, because again, the start is the most important part. The second option is going to be very similar, except that vendor is going to be a third party. You can use our partner finder. They will work with you in a similar fashion. Think Accenture, DXC, Cognizant. That's just to name a few, but there are literal hundreds of different partners that you can choose from. We have it linked here, but on our site, you can find the partner finder. There, it's a little bit easier. You can put in maybe what you want to implement, what your goals look like, what region you're in. Maybe you want to implement in a certain language. And then that will help to narrow down the partners you may want to reach out to, speak to, and figure out what works best for your organization. And then the third option, which only 10% of our customers seem to choose, we're not saying don't do that, but definitely approach with a little bit of trepidation, and that is self-implementation. I think the reason that not a lot of our customers do this is because it can be difficult. There is a lot to unpack. There is a lot to getting started, and you want to do it right the first time. But if this is a route that you want to take, we really hope that you just up level your team. Those certifications that we talked about earlier, you need implementation certification, admin certification, app developer certification. And it's not just one member of your team. Your entire team really needs to be on board if you're going to self-implement correctly. And make sure you're getting started in the right way so you can be aligned with not just ServiceNow's roadmap as we continue to develop and have new family releases, but your own, and making sure that you hit not just those short-term goals, but the long-term ones as well. Next slide, Isaac. And you're probably asking, is there anything else you need to know? Of course, we have tons of resources here to help you during your journey and support you every step of the way. And to get started with that, I'm going to pass it off to Isaac to talk about Now Create.
Thanks, Chris. All right. So a couple things that have been coming up in chat. We want to make sure that we mention what is offered as a free asset. And we also do have assets and classes and courses that are paid as well. Our goal in this webinar is to do our best to direct you to the free ones. All right, so there will be some referenced, like the certification class, for instance, right? That is paid. You do have to pay to be a certified ServiceNow administrator. All right, so again, our goal is to get you to focus on the resources that are available to you now. All right, you will see some paid ones in between. Another chat item that I want to address too is, how do you know what you're licensed for? How do you know what you're not licensed for? And so if we have time, I also want to show you a few little tips to get a little bit more self-sufficient. And then, of course, if you want to figure out what you're licensed for, that is what your account representative will be there for as well. So we want to give you a few tips and a few directions on that as well. Hopefully we have some extra time to do that. Now Create. This site is worth showing live. So what I'm going to do is bring over live view. Sorry, I've a little few too many tabs open. There we go. I love this site. So if you want to implement a certain module, like let's say change management, what we've done here is we've actually given you access to information like process guides. So these representations, these presentations, they're a combination of white papers and PowerPoints. What they're going to do is give you guidance on what to think about, what roles are necessary, right? So you can't just give out licenses without roles being connected to them. So things like change management. Do you need a change advisory board? Are you moving towards a more automated way of approving your change tickets? How could you do that in an automated way if you wished to do so? Again, what roles are required? This is all going to be here in what we call assets. So assets are part of our popular topics. And really, this was the first slide we wanted to show, because look at some of these that I have up there, right? We had, let's see, it's on here, this one, change management process guide, right? How do you implement it? How would you implement it? Problem management process guide. What's the CSDM and how does that help with my CMDB? These are all assets. These are all success packs. And if you have an ITSM standard, you're going to be able to have access to this particular website. Now Create is great. It's a gateway to a lot of extra information. We also have an ebook that's part. We're going to give you all of these slides, by the way, so you don't feel stressed or pressured to screenshot or like zoom in and get the link. We're going to give you all of these afterwards. Okay, so this is the ebook that kind of gives you an overview of what else can you do with that Now Create website. Okay, moving forward, Now Learning. All right, so we've already talked about this a little bit. Some are free classes, some are paid classes. What we've got, we've captured just a few of them. There's so many great classes available to you, right? Like Flow Designer fundamentals. How do you get workflow rolling in ServiceNow? Okay, so this is an 8-hour class. It is part of a path, right? And so you can log in, you can see the associated learning paths, like what else is this connected to? You can get your micro certifications. That's really cool, really powerful. Looks great on the resume. So want to talk about that one specifically. Going back to the PowerPoint, we've kind of picked out a few more that are worth mentioning. I really like this one, change management on the Now platform. And this is a landing page. So this landing page really gives you an entire path of like overview, creation and scope. How do you do approvals? Do you want to do a change advisory board? How do you get started on implementing? It's a fantastic class. And then just maybe one more to talk about here. I do want to bring up like the ITSM fundamentals, right? If you want to start going down and getting your certification, this is an instructor-led class. So now we're going to start talking about like, credits and how do you pay for these things and how do you take the test, right? So that's going to be part of working through this. Then we have even larger courses like the 3-day implementation class. This was one of my favorite classes I ever took. Really great course. And you're going to work your way up to like your system administrator career journey. And that's going to be your certification, your ServiceNow administrator. So we've included this ServiceNow administrator career journey underneath that third link. There's so many more. There's so many more. And what you're going to see on Now Learning is you are going to see samplings of free courses and you're going to see samplings of paid courses. I'd recommend if you're interested in purchasing ServiceNow, definitely negotiate some knowledge credits in that contract. You'll definitely be using them. Okay. Next, let's talk about the ITSM success map. It's a great overview just to kind of take a step back and say, how am I going to do all this? Where am I going to start? And giving you an idea of things like timelines. So you want to kind of do the walk, crawl, run, or whatever. Was it like walk, crawl, run, fly? We keep adding to that. But there's stages, okay? You've got success, you've got implement, run, optimize, expand, and you can have information here that's focused. Maybe executives want to talk about what's the vision? Like, what are we doing with this platform? Maybe you want to talk about governance. Who should have access? What kind of access should they have? What kind of skills and expertise are needed? What type of implementation and development roles should your organization be thinking about? Okay, so we've broken that out into our success map. We've got these links included as well. Chris, over to you.
Thank you, Isaac. And can you take the questions in the Q&A? I was just typing, but
Oh yeah,
I'm
if
gonna
everybody
get to
could, if we can move from chat to Q&A, I'd love
yeah,
to be.
that would help us to kind
I
of
don't, yeah, what happens
get
in
a
chat, we usually miss something.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah, I'll take over here. Um, so product documentation is just going to help you to find some of the technical questions to the technical answers to some of the questions you have about our products. This is really going to help you to get kind of into the weeds of an implementation. There was someone in the Q&A who asked about employee center services. You definitely want to take a look at our product docs, and we get very detailed. These are updated every family release. You can see just some examples of those docs to the right. Activate your change management, change success score, CI relationships within the CSDM. And what else do we have here? Assigning CSM, ITSM integration roles. Um, it gets a bit technical, but also all of these links are nested in a sense. So I'm not sure how big this looks on your screen, but like if you look to the picture on the right, it kind of starts out in Washington, goes into ITSM, goes into change management, goes into like change management reference, and then you go into change success score. This is a great place to explore if you want to get a better understanding of our rationale and how we think you should implement and configure some of these solutions and products. But we have plenty more. Isaac, you want to go to the next slide? Namely ServiceNow community. It is the place to thrive, learn, share, connect with others. Some of you may have actually already accessed ServiceNow community just by Googling ServiceNow and a question. I like to think of this as Reddit for ServiceNow. The screenshot's old. We have over 600,000 members today, over 2.5 million posts. And that's not just from customers such as yourself asking questions or posting about the solutions that they've come up with for their organizations. Internal folks like Isaac and myself both write articles. We post blogs. I just wrote an article last week on digital end user experience. Um, this is a great place to go if you have a very specific question. Maybe you search through the product docs, you didn't get the answer that you were looking for. ServiceNow is the place to go if you think you're alone and you're assuming that you're the only person in the world that has this question. I promise you, someone else has probably had it. And if they did, they likely posted it to community, where others can comment, talk about the solutions, talk about what they did. And again, internal folks like Isaac and myself, different product managers, we're very active in the ServiceNow community. So we try to answer those questions, try to moderate, do the best we can. Next slide. And if you're more of a visual learner, we are also on YouTube. Again, this is maybe another resource that some of you have already seen. We have multiple channels. We have the standard ServiceNow YouTube channel where you're going to hear more about just like large releases, what we're doing as a company, our vision. We have the community YouTube where you will see some extensions of those conversations that I talked about in the previous slide. That'll be a lot of demo videos, a lot of walkthroughs, specific configurations. Some product managers will just record what that looks like, post it to the community YouTube. Again, if you're a visual learner, this is a great place. Support has its own YouTube channel as well. So different hot fixes that need to happen, things in between releases, different walkthroughs, that's going to be there as well as developer for, again, those more technical videos. I know not everyone wants to read a document to learn how to do something. I'm definitely a visual learner myself. So I implore you also check out our various YouTube channels, and they're all linked here. Um, Definitely bookmark those. And the next slide, Isaac. And so this is the ServiceNow store. I believe someone had a question about plugins in the chat. This is a resource that you want to check out. So the store is a marketplace for certified apps, integrations, pre-tested and built by partners to help you extend the platform into new use cases. We say partners, but store apps can be built by partners, can be built by customers, can be built by vendors, other other ITSM companies. It's really just a way to help extend use cases just in case the platform's not doing everything exactly as you want it to do. This is also especially helpful if you have different apps that control something specific within your organization that you don't want to roll fully into ServiceNow or the platform just yet. Plugins are available here, different configurations. And this is called a store, and this has already come up before, but not everything here you have to pay for. Some of
Yep.
these plugins are free. Some require a subscription. Thanks, Isaac, for popping in
Yeah.
there.
And this is going to help that licensing question. Yeah. So when you sign in, which I should have done in advance, it will actually reference what you need to run a certain application. And really, most of our products are running over towards the store. As a
Yeah.
product manager, and Chris is a product manager, when we've moved our applications over to the store, we can release on a monthly cadence if needed. We can release outside of the family release, right? So
Yep.
right now I'm wearing a Tokyo shirt, right? This was our Tokyo release. We do it twice a year. That's the whole of ServiceNow gets a version boot update. But when you move, and most product teams have decided to move their product to the store, you get more flexibility. So I know one of the products I'm responsible for is called Digital Portfolio Management. It's available for ITSM standard and above. Digital Portfolio Management is run on the store, and we tell you, like, is there a new update to come out? You can also reference the plugins inside your instance itself. So those are two places that you want to go to kind of see and do a little bit of research on what are the requirements from a licensing standpoint. And
Mhm.
some applications, when you try to install them, will say, you don't have the right licensing, or yes, you do. Let's go ahead and install it. So that's a little bit of a tidbit for you. Definitely check the store, and not only for the technology we have available, but also like what our partners are creating, and then licensing information.
Thank you, Isaac. Um, Yeah, I think that's all on the store. Again, definitely check it out, especially if there's a specific use case that you're thinking of that you feel like ServiceNow should have. Most likely, you're going to be able to find a similar or synonymous solution in the store.
Yep.
And then I will pass it back off to you, Isaac, to talk about what is this? Guided setup.
Guided setup. All right. So a couple things we want to show you. We have these adoption blueprints, and I'll go ahead and whoops, not change the slide. I'll go ahead and show like our adoption blueprints first. Okay. So these are really helpful for you to sort of get an idea of what you're trying to accomplish, give you even sort of a product roadmap for yourself. Like, what goals are you going to be striving towards, and then also additional ways to enhance what you already have, right? Like, there's I don't know if we still have that for standard, but like there's little add-ons like virtual agent light, or information that you may not have thought about, and it'll check like to see what's installed, what's not installed. I do want to go into this one link I provided. It's called the Guided Setup community page. I love guided setups. We have them really all over the place. Most applications now have a guided setup connected to them. And so we've included this link here because our community page, shout out to community, is extremely helpful and showing you information you might want. Like it's even guided setup is on the store and you can install it for you. But there's now what we call our legacy guided setup. And I'm going to bring an instance up over here. If you go to your instance and you just hit this drop down arrow and type guided, you'll see any module that has its own guided setup. So ITSM guided setup, let's check it out. Here we are. So what do you need to do from an administrative standpoint to get it going? So first thing you need to do, like add your company logo, add a welcome page. You can get started, complete the tasks. Are you working with Okta? Are you working with LDAP? Here's what you're going to need to do there. Go ahead and get started. And I can say some of our implementation partners actually use this. And it's definitely meant for you as the customer. Foundational data, you need to have your users, groups, companies, departments, locations, right? You need to think about things like auto assignment of tasks. So that foundational data is listed here. The CMDB, right? What do you need to load into that? What are the basics of a configuration item? That's a CI. What do you have to have in the CMDB? Go ahead and get started on it. Incident management. What do you need to create? Major incident management. Are you going to go there? Here's what you need to do. What are the best practices as well? Problem, change, service catalog. This is great. So these guided setups are inside of the instances themselves. And also they are part of specific applications. Like I know, shout out again to digital portfolio management. We have a complete admin page, very similar to this, and it gets you through. All right, so we've got some links there for you. Admin Center product page is something I definitely recommend checking out. Moving forward. All right. If you don't have a personal development instance, a PDI, definitely grab one. So let's take a look at the ServiceNow developer. I keep doing it to myself. The links are so close to the navigation buttons. All right, so here's the ServiceNow developer homepage. I have logged in. You can request an instance. I forget the exact number of days that this will. I think it used to be like 13 days. You had to log in every 13 days to your personal development instance to keep it live. It might have gone down a little bit, but you're probably going to be using it anyway. And that won't really be an issue. So you can not only request an instance, it's for you, right? You get to just install whatever modules you want. You get to develop, configure. Keep in mind, it's not going to have the horsepower that a production instance has, but it's still going to be a really, really good tool for you to test, to reference information, to get comfortable with a new release. And then, of course, you got your sandbox environments, right? So just think about how you want to do that. Definitely, I don't even know if it's possible to clone a PDI up to a developer instance, but I wouldn't recommend it even if it was possible. And there's more information here. This is really cool. This is like the GitHub of ServiceNow, because what other ServiceNow users have done is they've created different solutions and they share it out there, right? And should have gone into the navigation a little bit more. Sorry, this is the homepage, but ServiceNow developer, again, it's like this GitHub. Somebody made a little cool workflow, or they, added an enhancement to their incident management, and they just packaged it up and sent it out there. This is where you can grab other people's projects and also in turn share yours. Right? It's really awesome to have that type of community. It's heavily used. Chris, over to you for support. And I will change now. There you go.
Beautiful. I know you probably hear support and you roll your eyes. Most people do. However, ServiceNow support is they're pretty well trained and technical. I've talked with customers that said that, hey, I've worked with support for 2 months on an issue. I've worked with them for a week on an issue. They are very well trained. This is also a free resource. They're available to you 24/7 as long as you have at least ITSM standard. They're going to answer the questions that you have. They're going to try to work with you to figure out whatever issue it is that you have. And also, this is not a black hole. So anytime support figures something out, those fixes are going to be documented. They may be posted on our YouTube page. They may get folded into product docs. There may be something that we need to patch up within the next release. Um, as Isaac said, in the store, we have hot fixes that will also be posted there because we can make changes there a little bit more regularly if we can't wait until a family release that's like every 6 months. Now support is the start of all of that. So if all of the resources that we've shared so far don't answer your question or help you out, definitely try reaching out to support. They're a great resource. And I see we have a hand raised. We have 2 more slides, and then we'll get right to you, Baird. And yes, and then next slide. So this is our final resource, ServiceNow. It's us. um, This is a great session, but we will be reaching out to you your entire lifespan with the company, whether that's via email campaigns, live on ServiceNow events such as this one, launch and learns. We will help you at various points during your journey. We use a lot of telemetry internally within our BU to understand who needs help in what areas, and we try to contact them directly. Um, if you look to the right, you'll see all the different kinds of live on ServiceNow events that are available. So there is just ample opportunity to continue your journey, continue your learning. If you don't want to do it solo, like in some of the previous resources we shared, there's a big community atmosphere here. There's lots that we're going to continue to share as ServiceNow grows and the platform continues to be developed. And with that, I think that is all the resources that we have and all that we wanted to share with you today. Now we can take some live questions. I see Isaac is readily responding.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm having a good conversation with Russell, and because of the contract, the entitlements, it's always the contract is the boss, right? So if you can
It is.
actually see your ServiceNow contract, if you're allowed, maybe your procurement department can give you like certain screenshots. Right? The contract is critical in understanding what you have the rights to, because here's what happens. Like somebody could buy ITSM standard, but then they have a specific add-on that's not a part of the standard package. You could have a license type that we don't offer anymore, and so it may not have a lot of documentation out there, and the contract will that's what everybody references. The other thing is your account team, your account executive, they have access to the contract, so they can actually help you navigate that. And then also back to the support team, we do have customers that have opened up tickets and want to just ask a simple question. Hey, am I entitled to this plugin? The store is telling me I'm not. I'm getting an error message saying that I don't have the entitlement. It could actually be an error message. There have been times where it didn't navigate the entitlements properly, and you definitely need to open a support ticket. But there are also other times where you can just simply ask the question, right? I'd highly recommend, again, talking to your AE, understanding your contract. Those are critical components. There's little tidbits that the store will give you, like you'll open up an app and it'll say, this is for ITSM Pro customers. But if you don't know that you're on ITSM Pro, it kind of really doesn't answer your question, right? So definitely, definitely a topic that comes up often. And I hope you get your answers, and that's helpful in giving you the channels you can go to. Yeah, application manager inside the instance, it's not going to give you all the information you need either. But the
1000%.
contract is king.
Yeah. And we didn't put that on here, but definitely be in contact with your account team if you can. They are going to do their best to help you understand what it is you own, what it is you can do, and next steps if you're really trying to up level. But with that, I see we have some questions or someone raised their hand. Claire, do you want to let Jess unmute?
I think we can do it.
I think Jess, you have to unmute yourself. I
Yeah.
just asked.
Yeah. So you now can unmute yourself, Jess. Okay,
Uh,
she's unmuted now. Maybe you're double muted. Maybe your microphone's muted too.
oh, Jess, you have your hand raised. That's why. All right. Any other questions?
Let's see, we got something going on in chat.
It
Okay.
looks like Russell wants further explanation. I'll just go ahead and say that because it does come up a lot, that is something we're actively working on across the board. Just better understanding of what it is that you own, what that means for like plugins, what that means for your roadmap, even down to like us giving customer presentations on new products. We are constantly trying to do a better job of help you to understand what you own and what that means. But Russell, we agree it can be confusing, but it's a work in progress.
Yeah, one of the benefits of the presentation, it'll be shared out afterwards. You'll get all of those links. Sometimes individuals just don't know what's available out there. So we're trying to, demystify things a little bit. Hopefully, we were able to give you direction and resources, insight into what you have available. That was definitely more of the, self-enablement goal that we had for today's webinar.
Mhm.
So there's a question here. Uh, so the question is, a partner implemented this individual's instance. Does the instance upgrade overwrite all the data sets that were created? Okay, so there is another link that we need to talk about for that. So you're going to have to do some testing, and I will look for that while Chris sings a song. All right. It's called ATF.
Anonymous attendee from your rep does not respond. When you say rep, do you mean your account team? If so, I would then go to support because they will 1,000% respond within 24 hours.
So I'm going to go ahead and this question about the upgrade. All right. So inside ServiceNow, we have something called the automated test framework. The automated test framework has a lot. It's 80% or even more tests that we've automatically created for you. So things like incidents, change management, the service catalog. We've got these scripts in automated testing framework that runs through and validates for you what's an issue if you were to upgrade. Okay, so when you're doing this in your development instance, clone down from production. I'll put this in the chat because it's not part of the PDF that we have for everyone. Okay. So automated testing framework, definitely research this, look into this, see if the out-of-the-box tests are good enough for you, and it'll give you instructions on how to create any other tests that need to be done. There's also, it's probably on the support page, which I'm not logged into, but there are directions to say, these are the steps you need to take when upgrading your instance. And I will look for that as well. Really great questions. I'm really glad we can help. So this is going to be on support. You will, it's actually interesting here. I'm not logged into support, but there are some knowledge articles that we leave open for the public. So you'll notice I'm not signed in. But if you don't have a Now support login, get one. Right? This is nice that it's public, but a lot of other articles, and of course the ability to open tickets, that's not public. So here's how to manage and schedule your instance upgrades. You've got the ability to cancel the upgrade, and then there's more information that you'll find to kind of make sure you check all the boxes before you do an instance upgrade. And of course, please do it on a sub-prod instance. Clone down from production into your dev instance, then perform automated testing framework, follow these guides, check the boxes, and do all of that in your dev instance, make sure it's okay, and then proceed from there. Yeah, I want to we have an individual on the chat. He's like our secret shopper that's monitoring. But he wants to know the name of the account that's not getting a response. Yeah, thank you for that, secret shopper. And we're gonna get that taken care of. So please instant message me on the chat here. You can go down to the chat, send me your email address. I know you have an anonymous login. It's not going to change that, but you'll need to message the panelists, hosts and panelists, your email address so that we can research that for you.
For sure. You guys are seeing live how much we care about our customers. You should definitely be being responded to by your account team. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? We have a few more minutes here.
Yeah, definitely go through these links.
Yeah.
Christopher and I really, we referenced other teams. We just wanted to make sure we created this one-stop shop, and that those links, they're all captured inside this PDF. The PDF will get posted. Check them out. Definitely look through, and you can be very surprised at the amount of information that is just out there. Okay, we want you to be successful.
1000%.
Okay, looks like everything is there. Claire, thank you so much. Reference that link. That's how you're going to get the PDF document. So the very last message from Claire, she put a community link out there. And yeah, Russell, totally understood. I agree with you.
Yeah, definitely heard, Russell.
Mhm.
Keep us honest. It's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Okay. Looks like we're all caught up, and really, really hope this was helpful. It's what I would want if I was starting out my journey as a customer. So,
Oh, Sarah raised their hand.
got a hand.
I think the hand went away. I don't know if that was an accident.
I think she's just giving us a high five.
Yes. Yeah. So wave goodbye. Bye, Sarah.
All right. I hope to see some of you again. Chris and I are out there a lot, and
Yeah.
hopefully we get to see you again.
Yeah. Thank you all for attending.
Bye, everyone.